Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Just how much fun will the Super Bowl be? Why the Chiefs are the best bet to win the Super Bowl, and get the story behind the best quote in college football, maybe in sports, in the last year. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook partner of Locked On. Make every moment more. Go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
It is Super Bowl 57, Radio Row. The Chiefs and the Eagles set to square off. I am joined by longtime ESPN anchor, now with Caesar Sportsbook, Trey Wingo. And Trey, this is a game that I have had a lot of trouble trying to get my head around here. Yeah. When you're thinking about, okay, what am I really excited to see this Sunday in the game? What is it?
I think the most important thing is that the two best, most consistent teams are here. And that's so rare, right? Yeah. Like, they're the only two teams that went 14-3. You have a really good defense, a really good offense. They were the most consistent teams all year. It's the first time we had both number one seats in Super Bowl 52. But even that year, the Vikings were 13-3, as were the Eagles. It was tiebreaker. The Steelers, as well as the Patriots, they played head-to-head, were both 13-3. So the Patriots were the tiebreaker. These were by far the best two teams. And I don't want to hear from Buffalo fans, well, we could have been. No, you lost at home to the Bengals. You won't win it on the road on Monday night to the Bengals. These are the best two teams, and that's a rarity, and that's why this game is so close.
I look at a lot of the matchups and I'm going, okay, Philly's got this great offensive line. They've got this all-time pass rush, really good secondary, awesome skill players. And Kansas City, it seems to me, has Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Is it more complicated than that?
It is a little, because I think the Eagles' defense has been great from week 1 to week 18. The Chiefs' defense has been much better down the stretch. They play up to 7 rookies at times on defense. And they've gone 5 straight games without giving up more than 1 touchdown pass. For a while, the only guy, the quarterback that didn't have at least 2 touchdown passes against him was Malik Willis in that Sunday night game at Arrowhead, which went to overtime. Those Chiefs rookies have really stepped up. And it's not just the secondary with Williams and Watson and McDuffie and Cook. Karlaftis has got 7 sacks in his last 6 games, had one in the AFC Championship game. The Eagles' defense has been great from week 1. The Chiefs' defense has evolved into a much better defense. They got 2 picks from Joe Burrow. They sacked him 5-6 times in that game. The Chiefs' defense is a lot better now than it was then. The Eagles' defense has been consistent from week 1 to week 18.
This is a question that I've been wrestling with here. Patrick Mahomes, we know that he's on the path to sort of all-time greatness. Right. But he also has a Super Bowl loss on his resume already. Andy Reid, before he came to Kansas City, he was the guy that couldn't win the big games in the NFC Championship game. Is Patrick Mahomes getting number 2 in a year that he also is going to win the MVP, by the way?
Yeah.
A bigger story than if he loses another one of these games?
That's a really good question, Peter, because I'm a big believer that Mahomes' legacy will be intact over the next 10 years. I believe this is a legacy-defining moment for the Chiefs. The Packers of the 60s, Steelers of the 70s, Niners of the 80s, Cowboys of the 90s, Patriots of the aughts and the 2010s. This is their moment to say, this is our time. We are the definitive best team of this generation. And I think they're acutely aware of that. And I think that it's more about this team than it is about Reid or Mahomes in the long term.
And they're a D forward offsides from going to and probably winning another one of these things. So Correct. When we talk about dynasties, that's Correct. Part of it too. One of the big stories of Radio Row, I can't talk to anyone without them asking what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. The Raiders piece.
Do you feel like this is Groundhog Day for you, right?
Yes.
I feel like the Chiefs have been here 3 times in 4 years. This is the 3rd straight year you guys have had to deal with Aaron. What's he going to do after he gets out of his dark house,
Well,
what's that about, by the way?
It feels like I'm in a dark house right now. We're all in the dark. He is leaving. It's like a beautiful metaphor, right? That he's leaving us all in the dark here. I was talking about this the other day. What do you think is the best football situation for Aaron Rodgers?
Well, he doesn't want to be a part of San Francisco. He still holds that grudge. Why would you not think? Why would a running back not want to work for Kyle Shanahan? Why would Aaron Rodgers not want to go to San Francisco? You have a great offensive line. you have Christian McCaffrey, you have really good functional wide receivers, and a really good defense. Why would you not want to go there?
Yeah.
Like, you are, if he goes to the 49ers, to me, they are automatically the team to beat in the NFC. Automatically the team to beat in the NFC. But Aaron is very strange, and he holds things, as you well know, like forever. And if he's still upset with them not drafting him, get over it. If you're going to play at this point in your career, aren't you playing to win? Don't you want to be in the best case scenario? What's a better scenario for Aaron Rodgers in San Francisco? I can't find one.
I think the Jets are sort of like 49ers light.
Why would they?
Light?
But right, but I mean, like, that sounds great, but like, they're the Jets, okay? They do this all the time. And if you're Aaron Rodgers and you hold a grudge, really? You're going to go the same place Brett Favre went? Like, really? You're like that line from Sarah Marshall. This is actually happening. We are actually going to let this happen? I cannot imagine that. I cannot imagine that.
Well, it would be great television. I know that for sure.
Correct.
So this is something that I've been trying to wrestle with. Let's say this is the last time we've seen Aaron Rodgers in a Green Bay Packers uniform. How will you remember his tenure as a Green Bay Packer?
Honestly, very successful, but lacking, right? I mean, like, at least Favre went to 2, won 1, lost 1. I'm curious, actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to know what Packer fans think if in consecutive years the contract they gave Rodgers cost them Devontae Adams, and then Aaron's like, F it, I'm out. Like, that's a double you-know-what on the way out the door, and I'm curious how that's going to sit with the Green Bay faithful.
All right, I can't let you go without making a prediction here. Who wins Super Bowl 57, Chiefs, Eagles?
Well, listen, there's a reason it's a 1.5 point spread, and it's probably going to be pick 'em by the time the game rolls around. All the money came in early on Philadelphia because of the injuries. Chiefs are getting healthier. Nothing would surprise me in this game. Like, there's no outcome that would surprise me. But at the end of the day, to me, the Chiefs, as I said, this is their moment to take it. And much like Patrick was sick of hearing about Joe Burrow and Burrowhead and all that kind of stuff, you can't beat him. On one leg, the one play he needed to make, he made it. I think they find a way to do just enough to win a second Super Bowl and put them in the dynastic discussion.
Stay up to date all year on the NFL by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts.
Thanks for making Locked On Sports Today your first listen. Coming up, why the Kansas City Chiefs are the best bet to win the Super Bowl.
This year, the only app you need for your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. We're really excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're the #1 sports book in America. It's FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download FanDuel now so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. You can do this all on the FanDuel Sportsbook app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/LockedOn to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
All right, we are here on Radio Row, Super Bowl 57. It's the Chiefs and the Eagles set to square off. I'm here with Lisa Kearney. More ways to win, FanDuel TV, very exciting. And the thing that I think is hard for me when I think about this game is it's Patrick Mahomes. Like, the Eagles have so many advantages, but it's Patrick Mahomes. And you, from Kansas City, probably hard to be objective about this, but so, like, why would I not pick Patrick Mahomes?
Could you have started this interview any better, Peter? He's done his homework, obviously. You know what? That's what I tell everybody. Every conversation that I have, and my guys on set right here, literally every show, I am like, myself and one of our expert handicappers, Dave Weaver, he's also on the Chiefs, and not just on the Chiefs to cover, but he's on the Chiefs to win it. So take him on the money line. But Patrick Mahomes continues to outdo himself. When he's the best player in the league, the magic that we see come from him, and I keep talking about this because he just talked about it on Radio Row or on Super Bowl Media Day. Is, you know, he was asked about, would you rather win a Super Bowl or would you rather lose a Super Bowl? He's done both. The more fresh one is the loss, and he said, I would take nothing away from a Super Bowl win, of course, but the one that really stays with you is that Super Bowl loss. So add that to what Patrick Mahomes is already doing, and that just happened 2 years ago where they only scored 9 points, so it was on the offense is exposed. I think give us the plus points, give us all the negative energy, give us all the smack talk, let us have our quiet swagger and come in. And Kansas City, I truly feel that Kansas City is going to get the job done against a very stacked Eagles team. They are so good top to bottom on both sides of the ball.
It feels crazy to me Patrick Mahomes is an underdog.
Yeah.
I actually took, before the games last Sunday started, I have Chiefs over Eagles plus 480.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do I hedge? Do I hedge on the Eagles, or do I let it ride?
Let it ride. Let it ride. I was just asked like Lisa Kearney's best betting advice, and I'm like, man, don't bet with your heart. And here I am, I'm like, man, no, just let it ride. But like when you stack it up, I love these stats. I'm a big stats girl. Both teams #1 seeds. Both teams 16-3 in the regular season. Both teams scoring 586 points, I believe it was. They scored the exact number of points. Mm-hmm. Both teams 6 Pro Bowlers, or all pros. Both teams a Kelsey brother. I mean, both teams, when you put them side by side, they are so good. Now, after you get past the fact that they are so equal and they are so similar in so many different ways, you start nitpicking the different matchups, right? So Haason Reddick going against our right tackle, who's everybody's like, okay, come on, Andrew Wiley, just hang in there. You got this. Is Chris Jones going to be able to penetrate that offensive line and get to Jalen Hurts? That's going to be, I think, a big X factor in the game for Kansas City is Chris Jones and how he plays.
And that's the Kelsey that we're not talking about, Jason Kelsey, and that matchup with Chris Jones. Can they get some pressure in there? So if like the Super Bowl is fun because there's props for days. But like with FanDuel, you can always make all these wagers on all these games. So how do you find the stuff that like really gets you excited here? Because like I'm going through, I'm like, there's so many options. I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm paralyzed by choice sometimes.
Yeah, well, it's easy to be paralyzed by choice, right? And sometimes you can just go easy and just chalk. You're not getting the best odds, but hey, you have some skin in the game, which is what makes it fun, right? So I say for the price of a Starbucks, you can add an even bigger jolt to your Sundays and have a little game within the game, and then you're following whether Travis Kelsey has more than a touchdown and a half, or if Patrick Mahomes throws for more than 230 and a half yards or whatever it might be. Those different prop bets. But I like to go into what people aren't talking about, because all the conversations this week are going to be about the spread and about the total, and they should be, absolutely. And talking about the money line bets that have been made, the futures that you put down. But going back to Chris Jones, I am so excited to see what he does. 15 and a half sacks in the regular season, 4th most in the league. He is such a game changer, and when you look back at the AFC Championship game, I just don't think Joe Burrow was ready. I don't think they're ready for what Chris Jones could do to him. And his pass rush success rate, 21.5% when he comes from the tackle position. No one talks about, that's like best in the league. No one talks about the fact that he's double teamed 69.2% on those plays. It's unheard of what this guy is doing. So yes, they have the best offensive line in the game, but they haven't seen Chris Jones yet. So I'm very excited to see how that matchup plays out.
You mentioned the 15 and a half sacks. Almost all of them were drive enders or game enders too. We don't talk about defensive linemen as being clutch, but if there's a clutch defensive lineman in the game, it's Chris Jones, because we know where you're coming from with the Chiefs. Tell me, what about the Eagles makes you most concerned?
Haason Reddick, he really does, because of that weakness in that matchup there with Wiley. We've been exposed in that position before, but I have full confidence that Patrick's high ankle sprain, he's going to be able to manage it. We saw him running around. We saw him run for the first down to then absorb the roughing the passer penalty to then get the field goal. But his ankle, these 2 weeks, it's going to be imperative that he gets it into the shape that he can run, because I really am worried about Haason Reddick, and I think they have all the fire that they need to know that they're going against the best quarterback in the game, and they're sitting there going like, but we're the best in the game, so watch me do what I'm going to do. So that worries me a little bit, that matchup.
Okay, do you have a score in mind?
So I actually think, so the total's sitting at 50.5. I've talked about, and also like a little nugget that not many people are talking about. Carl Sheffers is the head referee for this crew. And maybe you know what I'm going to say, but this is like his third or fourth Super Bowl. He was the head ref in the game against Tampa Bay 2 years ago in the Super Bowl when the Chiefs lost it. His crew, on average, throws just about 16 flags per game. And that's more than 1.5 times the other average crews throughout the regular season. So a lot of penalties could be coming. Who knows how that impacts points and plays called back or pushed forward or however that, but I think it could be going under that 50.5, just because I think the crew's gonna be a little tic-tacky.
You can put some cash in your pocket every day with the best bets. Follow Locked On Sports today and Locked On Bets on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. Coming up, what's the story behind the best quote in college football? Super Bowl 57, we're here on Radio Row. It's the Chiefs and the Eagles set to square off. A couple weeks after that, we've got the NFL Combine. A couple weeks after that, we've got the NFL Draft. I'm here with Cam Smith, South Carolina defensive back and potential first-round pick in the NFL Draft. And you can't wear a shirt like this and have me not ask about it. I remember the quote, drop your nuts, because you were asked. Well, no, you tell the story. Tell the story.
We were, what's the name? It was after the game, Tennessee. We beat Tennessee, knocked them off. Then there was a post-game press conference. They asked, what did I do? Like, what did we do different? And I just said nothing. We just dropped our nuts. It was as simple as that. Like, so really all we did.
So like to you, when you said that, what did you mean?
I just meant like we just locked in, like we just hunkered down, like made sure like we did every assignment, made sure we gave our all effort, like every play. So we just made sure we just locked in. I guess it was just so funny. Like everybody else just ate it up.
Did you think it was funny when you said it?
Nah, like I was just talking. I was dead serious. Like.
So how did you turn it into a partnership here with Saks? Tell me about that.
Yeah, we had like a whole team deal with Saks. Like a few weeks, we had finalized it a few weeks right before the Tennessee game, and then coming into the Tennessee game, we had already had the little commercials and stuff we was doing with them and stuff like that. Good partnership with them. So then, like, come to it, I said, so happened to say that, and we already got the little deal with them. So it just took off from there.
So when you go into a week and you're watching tape and you see these receivers, what is the trait that a receiver is going to have where you see it on tape and you go, all right, I'm going to have to be really locked in this week? Like there's big receivers, there's fast receivers, there's a lot of different traits. What's the one where you're like, okay, this is going to be trouble this week?
It's just like you just said, like combining all of those, a big, fast, like a good release, good route runner, like stuff like that, like a total package, you could say that. But I ain't really had that all year.
Who was the closest in terms of like the toughest matchup that you faced?
Jalen.
So we talked to Jalen this morning, and we talked about this idea of, you a lot of these defenses now want to live in too high because you want to stop the big play. But if you got someone like Jalen that can run from the slot, now your safety's got to cover. You got to do all this stuff. So what is a defense like? What is the counter, do you think, for defenses other than just like we're just going to cover our butts off? Like how can defenses combat all these explosive offenses now?
A lot of that is just kind of personnel matching, just having the guys that can run with those dudes and stop the big play and stuff like that. I feel like you can man everybody up and put one high in the middle of the field and stop anybody.
What is that? What you want to play? Like just give me the chance. Like every corner says, just let me play man every snap, right?
Yeah, it'll be ideal for me. I feel more comfortable just being out there. I don't really need the lean post safety help, but if it's there, like I can just play outside level. Like it just makes everything easier, just kind of funneling everything to the safety.
What gets you most excited about a game? Is it a matchup? Is it the crowd? Like what gets you? Just I'm so ready for this game.
I don't never go into no game like that because that's kind of how you get like kind of anxious and stuff like that. Kind of start making dumb mistakes and stuff like that. So I just stay calm. Really, it ain't really too much that I get excited for. Cause I've been playing this game for so long. I still got the love for it and the joy and the excitement for it. But like it's not just like a little kid like ready for a Saturday at 7 a.m.
So you're preparing for the combine. This is, going to be a crazy experience. You're going to meet with probably every team at the combine, and then you'll have the workouts and stuff. What are you working on right now as we get set for this offseason?
Right now, just being more explosive and stuff like that. Just coming out of my start fast and just working on my start 40 and all of that stuff. Just making sure I'm critiquing my back pedals and stuff, my brakes and all of that stuff. Just really just staying on top of everything and really maintenance work.
How do you balance, like, I want to still try and master my craft, trying to get better as a DB, but also I need to run fast, I need to jump high, I need to do all the things at the combine to show these NFL teams that I'm an elite level athlete?
I mean, it's not really hard for me. I mean, you should have the
just
DB
flex
aspect,
cam. That's okay.
The DB aspect of it. I mean, you should have that down. You've been doing this this amount of years, and you're on this type of level, so you should have that down for the most part. It's just coming in and learning how to run and all of this stuff. Because I mean, a lot of people come in and don't really know how to run and stuff like that. Don't know how to start. So that's just really the only learning curve of it.
What do you think is going to be the biggest learning curve once you get to the league in terms of whether it's football, whether it's off the field? Some people say, hey, like just being a person and learning that I got to pay my bills and do all these other things. What do you think is going to be the biggest adjustment for you?
Just different terminology, just like certain things that are probably like something we call different, and then they call it a certain thing. So just different terminology.
Locked On has the coverage you need no matter what team you're a fan of, whether it's Locked On Vols, Locked On Gamecocks, Locked On Sports Today, Locked On College Football, Locked On SEC. It's all on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. Thanks for making Locked On Sports Today your first listen. Now find your favorite team's Locked On podcast and make them your second listen. Coming up, we get you set for Super Bowl 57 from Radio Row. So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on Sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.